is. He's finally here. The most important figure of the entire year. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another 6-scale figure review with me. Hold on, let's do that again. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another 6-scale figure review with me, your host, That Metro Mania. And today we have probably the best figure of all time. We've waited long enough, and I could have waited a lifetime, but here he is. It's finally time. It's time for Kit Fisto. Hot Toys Kit Fisto. Can you believe it? Never thought this day would come. I know they teased it so long ago. Before they even teased all the other figures that they didn't release. But here he is, Kit Fisto. I can't believe they did it. The madmen at Hot Toys, the big science brains at Hot Toys, they finally did it. They released the greatest figure of all time. And here he is, Kit Fisto. And here's the box, just like normal. Star Wars picture, smaller Star Wars picture, spin it around, a bunch of nothing. And then, your third Star Wars picture. Pretty straightforward overall, nothing too special. But can I tell a tale real quick? So this figure went up, whatever day it went up, at like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And it was right early when Sideshow started to put up the figures for pre-order, like the minute that Hot Toys finally posted, instead of waiting till like the next day. I was playing Gmod with my friends, and we were playing prop hunt on some map with like some conveyor belt facility for the default like old guy that you play as a prop. And I just remember being on that map and completely stopping everything I was doing so that I could order Kit Fisto. So I have this really vivid memory of Kit Fisto and Gmod prop hunt. So this guy, what can I say? He's just going to be an important guy in my heart because it'll always remind me of the time that I played with my friends and ignored them for Kit Fisto. Anyway, let's get this madman onto the spinning turntable, shall we then? So if you remember, the Sideshow Kit Fisto was one of my earliest 6-scale figure reviews. So this guy not only is like an exciting, oh my god, it's Kit Fisto in 6-scale, but it's also like a throwback to one of my earliest videos. So this is a kind of cool concept. I'll finally get to update this figure that I've had forever in my collection. It's kind of sad. So now I don't know what to do with the Sideshow Kit Fisto. And we will talk about those two together later on. But man, am I just so excited to have this guy, because he is a much needed update to that Sideshow figure. Nothing against the Sideshow figure, but it's old. And this is new, and new is always better. Remember that. But yes, I think he looks great. He is a little top heavy, which is kind of to be expected with all of that big head on that beat. But I am so excited to finally have this guy in the collection, and I'm excited that he also has the Clone Wars parts, just like Plo Koon will have, and just like Sei Tin will have, and just like Mace Windu had. So I can have a more Clone Wars lineup, which is always cool because it's just some armor after all. But let's get Kit Fisto off the spinning turntable here because we've got so much more video to talk about. So, just like every normal Jedi, we'll start out with Kit Fisto does indeed have his brown Jedi cloak robe, which does look nice. It is pretty much the same material as all the other ones. It is a little harder to get on because of the big head tendrils that he has, but it's not impossible, so you don't have to worry. We will put this on a little bit later, but for now, we'll put that off to the side because there are more pressing matters, like his lightsaber. It's nice to actually have a Kit Fisto with a lightsaber. If you remember from my original Kit Fisto video, I don't have the original lightsaber because it didn't come with it. So now we do have the original Kit Fisto lightsaber, and it is all silver, and it's kind of lame. Kit Fisto's lightsaber, kind of boring. There's nothing really special about it. It could literally be anything. This could just be a gizmo or a doodad from anything or anywhere, but it does also have his light-up variant, which is just as lame, but with a wire. I hate these because I don't use them. It does have a regular blade, which is thicker than normal. I swear this is slightly thicker than they normally are. And if I remember correctly, it's rounded at the top, but the prequel ones are pointed. So that's odd. And then it's got the whoosh one, which is also lame. But it's alright. The green will do. I don't usually use them. But we do also have our wrist armor pieces. One with the communicator piece and one that's just normal. There's no Republic logo on these, which is kind of lame. I thought it would have one, but it doesn't. And then we have our hands, which we have a regular hand. And we have the Clone Wars armor hand, which does have our logo on it, which we're looking for. You can see that there is black glove and then the armor piece, which is nice. They're pretty much the same thing overall, except for this one has some armor and this one does not. We will put the armor on later as well, so we can see how that looks, because we will just armor him up onto the shelf when we inevitably put him on the shelf with everyone else anyway, because everyone else is Clone Wars themed. Kid Fisto does not want to stand no matter what I do, because he's so darn heavy, because his head is so big. Look at the fear in his eyes. You can smell the fear on his face. He looks terrified. This is a nice sculpt. It is scary. This would probably scare a child, but the paintwork and the sculpting on this guy, it's really nice. You could see like the skin wrinkled up and like little blobbles, and it just looks so good. The eyes are lifeless and black. This guy doesn't have the joyful presence that he does in the Clone Wars series. This guy is just like a I'm gonna die to Palpatine in 2 seconds kind of vibe. And obviously there is the Attack of the Clones version and the Revenge of the Sith version, and I can't remember which is which. I believe this is Revenge of the Sith, because in Attack of the Clones I think he's got smaller, beadier eyes. If I'm wrong, put the picture on the screen with what they look like, because for some reason Kid Fisto just changes drastically in between movies, which is whatever, I guess. But you can see there's a lot of work that goes into this sculpt, and it just looks so good. All of the green, it looks a lot better than it does on the Sideshow version. The color feels more natural, because the other one is just straight green. This one's more of like a yellowy, mucusy green. The patches of green on here are a bit more not like vibrant and like straightforward in your face. The front tendrils do have a bit of posability, so you can kind of move them where you need to. You see we have some brown straps here that obviously are designed to hold it together in the movie. And as a design, it does look really, really good, so I'm very happy with that. I'm wondering if this is uncomfortable for him. It's got to be somewhat uncomfortable. We can see it is a seamless neck overall, and you can see his angry mouth. There is a little bit of teeth action there. So that is super, super cool. Here we have his Jedi robe, and it is really nice to have a Kit Fisto whose Jedi robe is not pink for some reason. The Sideshow one is like a pinkish red. This one is a more normal brown. You can see the under brown, and then there's like a shirt under there, which looks kind of nice. Jedi robes are kind of simple, which they're supposed to be. So there's not too much to talk about. Obviously, there is some good layering on here. There's some nice, because not every Jedi has the same kind of robe as we see now. This one's got more browns here, and everyone's just looks, drastically different. Everyone's got different pants. Everyone's got different colors. And Kid Fisto does get to express himself with this little V interior here with this darker brown and then this lighter bit here. So it does look very nice overall. We do have the belt where the lightsaber would hang. Right here, we got some little nods and dobulars. I don't know what these are, but they kind of look cool, different colors. The belt buckle here does look nice. Coming around, we do have a back pouch. Do we have another one? No. But the back pouch is pretty much hidden by the bottom half of his tendrils. And we can see that these all have these triple browns, kind of like rings on them. Every single one, all like 50 of them, and it does end in a darker greenish, very darker green, just like the ones on the front. And you can see that this little green pattern does go all the way down, and it's not just like a stamp, because they are all slightly different in their own way. There's little variations, and it does look really good. He does have a similar effect on his hand here. You can see that he's just spotted. We got the little pants piece here, that little fold that comes down, and then we do have his iconic brown kit Fisto pants, and then he's got these brown Jedi boots, which are nice. It's got a little bit of good weathering in them. Nothing too special overall. It is just kind of like that Hot Toys boot design, which they love oh so dearly. Trying to get him to stand without falling with that big head. So, like I said, we do have the Jedi robe, which does, if we take off his hands, poor guy, handless, friendless, handless, we can kind of just slide it underneath the tendrils here. You got to get the arm in, obviously. This is very difficult to do, but you don't have to take the sculpt off. It's in the direction, so you just slide. I don't even know why he has a hood. Kid Fisto cannot use a hood, and he cannot use this robe. But you can see we do have to just slide as we go without getting the hood caught. It is quite annoying to get the hand to stay, because the hands are really big and sometimes the peg doesn't want to agree. And also, if you keep it normal, I try to tuck the robe under the tendril. It's not supposed to be, but I think it just slightly works better because it holds it in place. But if you leave the sleeve as is, it just looks like that. So what I do is I curve mine so it's got a little wrap to it. So that way it's got the hanging piece. I feel like the hanging piece is supposed to be on the bottom, but for some reason it's designed at the top. But you can see it does, for the most part, if you lift the tendril up, you can kind of get it underneath just enough where then when you fold the tendril down, it kind of holds it in place. And then if you put your hand back in, once you figure out which way the arm is supposed to turn, you can kind of get a bit of a Kit Fisto and Jedi robe look, which does look good for the most part. Obviously, the back of the head looks a little odd because the hood is like bunched up. So if you really put the effort in, it'll look fine. It'll look really good. But like you can see that it does look good if you do put some effort into it. And this only took me a couple seconds to do, as you saw. So like if you futzed it and played with it a little bit more, you could probably get some good. Like if you're a guy who wants all of your Jedi sitting in a line with like the Jedi robes on, this would be a great option. The robes are nice. Obviously, you know, they do recommend soaking them first to try to get some of that excess brown out so it doesn't stain the figure. But I won't be wearing the robe for very long, so I don't really worry about it. He's Clone Wars armor. I'm a Clone Wars armor guy. But yeah, the robe is a nice option. It does flow quite nicely. Mine is over the display base there, just that little bit. But if you don't, he will fall over. But, you know, he's surrendering. He's like, please, Palpatine, don't stab me after 2 hits. I'm going to take the robe off camera and put the armor on so we can see that real quick. It shouldn't take very long at all. And finally, here we have him in his Clone Wars armor. Obviously, all you got to do is take the robe and fold it just a little bit and slide it over and just replace the hands. And honestly, I like it. I knew I was going to like it anyway, but I do like it. I think the white definitely adds a little bit of color to it. And it's got the nice green, like greenish gold to match. But I like it. I think it slims him. Having the robe on makes him look a little too fat. I think this slims him nicely. And, you know, I'm just a sucker for the Clone Wars look. I'm a sucker for the Clone Wars. I just buy things because they're Clone Wars themed. I like the Clone Wars. What can I say, man? But yeah, it looks really good. And he will probably look really good with the rest of the Jedi in their Clone Wars attire. So why don't we get the gang all out right now. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I do wish Yoda had some Clone Wars armor. I know he doesn't, but I think it'd be silly if they give him a little bit of armor. Obviously, that's a 12 world or whatever Yoda, so it's not the Hot Toys one. Still works because it still looks good. I have a review on that if you wanted to watch it. I have a review on all but one of these guys, actually. He is kind of big. Kid Fisto is a little big. He does have a big head, and he does feel a little big. But, you know, he is an alien, so that's fine. But these guys look really good, and it makes me really excited for Say and Plo Koon. I'll be able to replace the Plo Koon I have. I have the Say tin. I just need to figure out what I want to do with my Kiadi Mundi, because I have a Mundi. It's a sideshow. If maybe I could get some armor for it, because it still looks good. It'll probably fit in nicely. All these guys in their Clone Wars armor looks really good. I like with like Kid Fisto and Mace Windu, they just have arm pieces, and Anakin and Obi-Wan just went over the top and just like cover themselves to the nines and whatever. Obi-Wan's got armor and the chest plate, and Anakin's got all this different stuff, and he's got a completely different color scheme than what he wears later. I think it's really fun. I love the Clone Wars aesthetic here, and I'm so excited to have all of these guys on the shelves together. I do wish that I had like a clone trooper for Fisto and Mace Windu, just because I have a 212th and I have a 501st, but they don't have anybody to lead. Does Kid Fisto have like a defined group, really? Like Mace Windu's got those purple guys. Purple guy. But yeah, I'm super happy with this grouping, and I cannot wait to get a few more Jedi to bolster that rank just a little bit more. Hoping we see more Jedi in the future. Maybe a new updated Kiadi Mundi, Shakti, Ayla Secura, maybe even Shaggy. But that's just a wait and see kind of thing. For now, let's move on and do some Oh, no, let's not do articulation, because we got a surprise guest coming down from center stage. So I know you all saw it coming. No life-ending 360 degrees. It's about all you're getting. You can lift the tendrils and get a bit more, but it's not much, and it'll look silly. Down that far, up that far, back and forth action. Arm goes up about that far. Arm goes up about that far. Arm goes back considerably more. And you get a little bit more than 90 at the elbow. Wrist, whatever. You do get a little crunch, but not really. Legs can spread as much as you need them to. Leg goes up that far. That's nice. Leg doesn't really go back. Knee bend to here. And then the ankle is really weird. The peg they use is really loose. Like, there is ankle articulation, but it's really articulated where he doesn't really, because of the weight of his head, he does not really supporting himself. So it kind of sucks because he's not really able to stand on his own unless you really balance him out. But for the most part, he's pretty solid. Let's kid our way to the end of the video. So Kid Fisto here sure knows how to impress. I knew I was going to love him the moment I saw him. The moment I laid eyes on Kid Fisto, I knew he was the one for me. And I was absolutely right. This guy, I absolutely love him. I love Kid Fisto. The more I say Kid Fisto, the more I love Kid Fisto. I think he's such a silly guy. He's got such an interestingly goofy design. But honestly, the Clone Wars, he's a really good job. Every time Kid Fisto is there, I'm happy. Especially Lair of Grievous, one of my favorites, because it's a Kid Fisto oriented episode where he fights Grievous. And the Water War, because Kid Fisto finally gets to shine in his environment. Good stuff overall. I love seeing Kid Fisto, except for in the movies when he's ugly and scary, and he's not fun in those. I think my first real seeing of Kid Fisto was the Lego Star Wars original game before I had even watched the movies. And he was terrifying then, and he was terrifying in the movies. And it took a while for me to really warm up to him, but Kid Fisto really stole my heart. Just like all the other weird alien Jedi, like Plo Koon, who I'm so excited to get, especially with the wolf pack. That's going to be a really good one overall. I'm so excited for that bundle of joy. Hopefully I'm not waiting too much longer for those. But for now, I've got Kit Fisto to hold me over. Echo coming in soon. We got Gregor. So we got a lot of stuff to hold us over, even if that wolf pack just takes that little bit longer. I can wait just a little bit longer. But yeah, Kit Fisto, man, what can I say? I love him. He's not for everybody. This is not an everybody figure. I know not everyone's going to go, oh, sweet, Kit Fisto. Who's Kit Fisto? A lot of people are going to just not know who Kit Fisto is. Oh, man, I love Luke Skywalker. Who's Kit Fisto? And you know what? Fair. Because most people probably don't even remember him at all. They're going to be like, oh, is that the guy who died to Palpatine? Or the guy who force-pushed C-3PO droid and then smiled creepily? Yep, that's him. That's Kit Fisto. That's my boy. What can I say? He's a man of many charms. I don't even think he speaks in those movies. Which is fine, you know, he really doesn't need it. But I love him. And I hope you pick this guy up, because he's definitely one worth picking up. He's such a stellar, outstanding, random-ass figure that you can't replicate that kind of love for. I sure can't, because I am in love with Kit Fisto. I want to love Kit Fisto forever. And I will. Now, I have him in 6-scale form twice, so I can love him forever and ever. Anyway, if you've picked up this Kit Fisto or any other Jedi, if you have any Jedi in your collection, who do you have? What's your favorite Jedi in your collection? It's probably Darkside Anakin or Artisan Anakin. But, you know, feel free to let me know if Artisan Anakin is not your favorite Jedi. Feel free to let me know what's your favorite Jedi in your collection, because I know there's a lot of good ones out there right now, especially Kit Fisto. So, you know, the possibilities and options are truly endless at this point. Or, you know, finite. They are finite, but, like, they feel infinite. If you don't have any Jedi, I'm sorry. You should get some. They're pretty cool. And with all that out of the way... no, I skipped the part. And, as always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe, because the channel has been doing really nicely recently. And, you know, with a Kit Fisto video, the channel should only skyrocket to 1 billion views. Everyone wants to see Kit Fisto. They're out on the streets raving, Kit Fisto! Here he is! That's the guy. We all know him. The smiling guy who dies. Yes! And they all cheer on the streets, and then, you know, the women and children cry. The end. With all that out of the way, I've been me, and you've been you, and thank you for watching yet another 6-scale figure review. Hopefully you join me next time when we review something maybe new. I will see you then.